Hey, I'm Jared from Hang Around Records, and I'm doing this video in response to Noble Records post the vinyl tag quarantine edition. It's basically it's 20 questions that they posted about your record collection, and it's just kind of a game to play, and it seemed like a fun idea and a good way to disseminate musical knowledge, and that's why we're all here, right? And so the first, I'll also have a list of the questions in the comments below, so just look back down in there, and if you want to do it yourself, I urge you to do so. And okay, the number one was favorite record from your home state or city, and I picked Zero Boys' Vicious Circle, and this is actually not only my favorite record from my home state, it's also one of my favorite hardcore punk albums of all time, and it's just a hella awesome album. Every time I put it on, I'm like put back into that place I was when I was 14 when I first heard it, and like I know what it's like growing up as a punk rocker in Indiana, and these guys did it 20 years before I did it and made a great album out of it, and I cherish this so much, and if you've never heard it, you should pick it up. Alright, number two is an album you highly recommend. I got this New Orleans funk compilation, Soul Jazz Records. There is not a bad song on this. It's The Meters, Eddie Bo, Professor Longhair, Wild Magnolias, Dr. John, Lee Dorsey, Alan Toussaint. It's so good. 3 records worth of just music that it's gonna put you in a good mood anytime, no matter what's going on. Just put it on, it's gonna be alright. So if you can get a hold of this, highly recommend it. Soul Jazz Records is the label. It's out of England. Alright, I got next one, number 3, is a tip for a beginner. First tip I would give any beginner record collector is get a preamp. You can get one for like $10 on eBay. Don't mess around with like just built-in speakers with record players. A lot of times like cheaper record players will come with that, and people want to like just listen to that, and that works, you know, it's cool if that's all you got, but records are meant to be played on a good stereo. They sound great, that's the whole point. Like, it's not just for show. They do sound really good, so, you know, get a preamp. It'll just boost the signal, and you can run it into any like computer speaker setup. You can get a whole setup for about 40 bucks. It's worth the money. Alright, number 4 was first record that really got you into deeper music. That would be probably the same for a lot of people my age. Green Day Dookie. I heard this first back in 1994 when it came out. I had it on cassette tape, and I wore it out in my Sony Walkman, and this is what turned me on to Rancid, and then eventually Operation Ivy and the Dead Kennedys, and from there it was just, you know, a landslide into everything, and my life was changed forever. But this is the album it all started with. This is the first music I ever listened to that I was like, this isn't my parents' music, this is my music, and I get it. Alright, number 5 is an obscure record people may not know. This is a record, Ann Peebles' Part-Time Love. Just freaking awesome soul female singer. Like, if you like Etta James, you're gonna love this. It's on Fat Possum Records. I do believe this is a reissue, but it's a really solid reissue, and I think this is still available. You should be able to find it used, if it's not still in print. But if you ever see this at a record store or any Ann Peebles stuff, pick it up. It's well worth it. Alright, a group who you collect all of their albums. Well, that's kind of a hard one, but I would say more than any other, it would be Thin Lizzy. Because anytime I get to a record store and I see a Thin Lizzy record I have no option but to buy it, because they're all freaking good. It's a lot more than just Jailbreak, you know? Boys are back in town. This is the first album. That one is a lot different. It's kind of like psychedelic jazz. Well, it's not jazz, but it's like blues jazz. It's good stuff. It's not what you'd expect from like a heavy rock band. And this is more like a blues-oriented album, Vagabonds of the Western World. It's also got a lot of really cool like space opera themes going on and really cool album art. This one just has a badass cover and it's a good album. They're all good albums. This is Nightlife, Thin Lizzy Nightlife. And then this is the best live album of all time, quite possibly Thin Lizzy Live and Dangerous. This one, I got it for $9. Yeah, you can find it cheap if you're lucky, but a lot of times it's a little more expensive, but it's worth it either way. Just buy it. Alright, number 7, a band whose second album is better than their first. Well, their first album is pretty awesome, but The Rift's Dead and Dream, their second album, that is most definitely a better album. It's one of my favorite albums all the time. It's just good, straightforward, white vinyl, TKO Records. It's a band out of Portland, Oregon, the mid-2000s. This band is just fantastic. If you like punk rock at all, you have to listen to this band. And then, next one is Show and Tell Whack-A-Mole. So this is just like grab any random record off your shelf. What I grabbed was Nas Illmatic. And this album is like just fantastic hip hop, like New York hip hop, mid-90s, all the best producers. This shit is fantastic. Like, you can't go wrong with Nas. Alright, what album have you listened to the most in your life? Probably Robert Johnson, King of the Delta Blues. First listened to this album when I was 2 years old. My dad played it for me, and I've been listening to it ever since. It's one of my favorite blues albums, one of my favorite albums. It's just got a hypnotic rhythm to it, and Robert Johnson was the instigator of all British rock and roll in the 60s. Like all the stuff that came after it, rock and roll would not be what it is today if it weren't for this guy. And so you got to go back and listen to what inspired all that. Show an album with a crazy story. And this one's a pretty cool one. It's Southern Prison Blues. Is all recorded at Louisiana State Penitentiary in Angola. All the recordings are inmates. So every song on here is recorded by inmates at the penitentiary. So this is coming from a real place, and it's really good too. So if you ever see this record, pick it up. I just kind of ran into it randomly at Mississippi Records in Portland. I got it for $5, but it's great. You're collecting pet peeves. I have a few pet peeves, I guess, but my main one is just anyone who treats a beginner collector like someone who doesn't know maybe The Clash, or somebody who doesn't know Big Star, like treats them like they're an idiot. Because, when I meet those people, I get excited because I get to show them this great, awesome band that I love so much and get to expose them to that. And that's, we need more record collectors in the world. The more record collectors, the more record stores, the more music, the better the world is. So don't make those people feel like they're not welcome. An album or genre people will be surprised that you like. This one I actually got for a Christmas present from my mom. I requested it. It's a compilation, Italians Do It Better, After Dark Volume 2, and it is, I would say, like electronic goth pop, and I freaking love it. Like, I love this stuff, and I can't imagine that I would love it before I heard it, and then once I heard it, I was like, I need to keep listening to that all the time. So I would imagine other people will probably be surprised that I love this as well, but it's good stuff. Alright, a record from the year you were born. This was actually not only recorded the year I was born, it was recorded 10 days after I was born in Chicago, which is about 2 hours away from where I was born. Steve Earle and the Dukes live. This was a gift from my partner Jenny, and it's just a pretty amazing album anyway, but just the fact that it was recorded 10 days after I was born is amazing to me. Alright, show a 10-inch. This is the Biters, self-titled 10-inch. This is a band from Atlanta, Georgia. Awesome, like power pop, rock and roll, along the lines of Cheap Trick, T-Rex, that kind of stuff, but done in a contemporary sort of style, I guess. Just an awesome, awesome band. Check them out if you've never heard them. Show an album with an animal on the cover. This is Eater, the album. This is a group of UK punk kids. They were all about 15 years old when they made this album. It's got an ant on the cover, if you can see that. Also, this is really cool neon green vinyl, neon yellow, I guess, tennis ball yellow. But this is an awesome album too. Like, well, all these are awesome albums, obviously, if I picked them, but definitely recommend this. If you like Stiff Little Fingers, that kind of like just stripped down punk rock from UK, Ireland, whatever, like that era of punk rock. If you like poppy, straightforward, simple punk rock, you'll love this record. Show an album with crazy artwork. I love this artwork. I just want to be a part of this scene. This is the Mean Gene singles. If you can see it. Let me take it out of plastic, maybe you can see it better. Yeah. It's like an arcade. It's got kind of like a Chuck E. Cheese punk rock vibe. And there's like, what's going on? Like slugs and S&M stuff. Like crazy guitars, mini ramp in the background. It looks so fun. Show a really good album that you can get for really cheap. Well, actually, I picked two. Big Brother and Holding Company, Cheap Thrills, which has a really cool R-Chrome comic as the cover. This is Janis Joplin's band. You can usually get this for $3 or $4 in decent shape. And then Roberta Flack, First Take, is another just great album. She's along the lines, it's like R&B, piano, jazz. It's good stuff. You can usually get this for $3 or $4 as well. Atlantic Records. Yeah, if you see it, you should buy it. It's well worth it. And show your most recent find. I got this. This is Love Forever Changes. I got this. This is an original copy. Show you the brown Electra, I guess it's grayish brown Electra label. This is Love Forever Changes, original. It was in pretty decent shape. I mean, it's got a few scratches and stuff, but for $5, I couldn't pass it up. This is one of the greatest albums of all time. If you don't know Love, check them out. They're fantastic. Show an album with acquired taste. It is Nicky Sudden and Jacobites, Texas. This album, I put it on the first time and I was just like, it's alright. Kind of sounds like a mediocre version of the Stones, but I just couldn't stop listening to it. And for the next like 4 or 5 weeks, I just listened to nothing but this album, and it's absolutely amazing. Jacobites. You should definitely listen to this one if you can get a hold of it. Alright. That's it. Hope you guys are doing alright out there, staying safe. If you want to post your own version of this video, please do. You can get the questions down below in the comment section. Thank you for your time. Alright, bye.